Right, guys, I got some more good news from the Daily Mail. Former civil servant launches legal case claiming he was sacked for not being a feminist. Good for him. Good for him. It's it's good to see like men at least fight on their own for a change. Kevin Legge, 50, said he was forced out of his job for not being a feminist. He is taking legal action against the Environment Agency. As a result, he said the interview process was biased in favor of women over men, which it is, okay? Now, he said the agency denies his claim and says he was sacked for moonlighting as a counselor during work hours. But the agency's attempt to have the case thrown out was dismissed by Judge Martin Warren, who ordered a full hearing. Wow, Judge Wharton, thank you. I guess not all judges are man-hating scumbags. They're rare, though, I'll tell you that. He said Mr. Legge's claim of discrimination on grounds of religion or philosophical belief is that he says those about whose action he complains are feminist, which he says is a philosophical belief he does not hold. That's a very kind way of saying he's not a part of the hate movement. Mr. Legge, a father one who was based in Peterborough, argued that he was treated less favorably than he would have if he had been a feminist or a woman, period. He said colleagues used an interview process with wording and scores based in favor of women over men. Of course they did. The feminists have been working for generations to get in positions of power and authority, and they're here now. Mr. Legge, who joined the agency as a technical manager in 2005, this is before it got as bad as it is, fell out with his boss, Joanna Lamore, now head of the National Environment Service in 2019. Yeah, these feminists work together to get in positions of power and authority, and then they start working their evil, right? A prevailing theme of Mr. Legge, and this is why they have to be kicked out. This is why they have to be kicked out. A prevailing theme of Mr. Legge's case is that the management were pursuing a feminist agenda, seeking to appoint or promote women rather than men to manage positions. Yeah, they want men to be the little work dogs while they get to be the bosses. And then they marginalize the men. That's the whole point. Mr. Legge, who was based in Peterborough, Cambridgeshire, said in a submission that he refused to do their bidding by favoring women over men in recruitment or promotion, as it would have been amounted to sex discrimination. It is sex discrimination. He cited alleged incidents, including 2019, when he told Mrs. Lamore he would not positively discriminate after rejecting a female candidate based on merit. It's funny that they can use the word positive with discrimination, but they do. And of course, the women, this just goes to show that feminism destroys everything because they're willing to put women who aren't worthy of being in that position based on sex alone. Another clash with Miss Lamore occurred in 2020 when she allegedly stopped him from appointing a man to a senior advisor role despite him being the best candidate. Of course. Mr. Legge claims he was advised to take on a less qualified female candidate when he protested at being told to re-advertise the post. So she just didn't want a man in that high position. He also says he was discriminated against for being a single parent. No, he was discriminated for being a single male parent. If he was a single female parent, if he was a mother, they'd be all right with that. Remember, the family unit isn't really a family unit. It's a unit controlled by a woman. And if the unit is headed by a man, then they have an issue with it. A formal grievance was lodged with Mr. Legge about his treatment in 2020, but the agency launched its action against him, and he was dismissed for dishonesty in April last year. Alleged misconduct included working as a counselor during work hours, causing an adverse effect on his duties. Now, Mr. Legge who describes himself as an experienced, qualified psychotherapist. We all know the psychotherapist industry is misandric. In an online profile launched proceedings after his dismissal, and a hearing took place in Norway in June. It's too bad he actually had to lose his job before he did the right thing, but better late than never. In a judgment published yesterday, Judge Martin Warren ordered a full hearing because he cannot properly form a view without having heard the evidence. Like, again, this judge is acting like a judge. Most judges just say, oh, woman wants something, time to just give it to them. He added Mr. Legge's claim of discrimination based on grounds of religion or philosophical belief is that he says about those actions he claims are feminist, which he says is a philosophical belief he does not hold. Well, I'm glad he's not a part of the hate movement. Yeah. Of course, he just says again that he was treated less favorably than he would if he had been a feminist or a woman, period. His case is that had he been a woman, Miss Lamore would not have treated him this way, and had he been a feminist, he would not have been treated him this way. Exactly. You're either a woman or you're a man who knows your place. That's right. Miss Lamore sought to manage him out and ostracize him in order to meet the gender targets and victimize him. That's exactly what happened. Right. It's a central plank to Mr. Legge's discrimination case that the agency was pursuing a policy of discrimination in favor of women, which he was resisting, which he describes as a feminist agenda. That's important, everyone. Not a woke agenda, a feminist agenda. So he's doing it right. He's miles ahead of most guys. The full hearing will take place later this year. Everyone cross your fingers, because this is important. This is one of the many, many important things that men have to deal with. All right. We have a man who's single-handedly putting his labors into fighting misandry, fighting the hate movement. And frankly, if there was a properly managed MRM, they would be backing this man. They would be paying his legal bills for him, because he is spearheading something that's important. Anyway, since there isn't one, what can I say? Anyways, everyone, good news. Time to celebrate.